Before this video starts, I want to give credit to Lord Rayon, Cake Circle 9038, Laifu, Stark TMA, Visam _, and I Lose My Potato. The add-ons in this video are all rightfully made by them, and they deserve credit. I'll leave their MCPEDL links in the description below. Hello! Thank you so much for tuning into what is my first ever commentary video. I would like to apologize first for my lack of uploads, considering that my last video was, a while back. Although you could say that that was technically my last video that used my voice, I have quite consistently-ish uploaded since then. Oh well, this is about Minecon 2021. I'm pretty late, however that still doesn't mean I can't share with you my Minecon 2021 experience. So, I recall sitting down with a drink and turning on the show with two of my friends, and both of us were as eager for one thing more than anything else: the mob vote. Me and my friends all agreed on voting on the cute and useful Copper Golem. Alright, I'm gonna break from the script and just gush about the Copper Golem for a minute. The Copper Golem for me was definitely a useful mob. You would not only get two new items in the game compared to the only one that you would get with the other selections, you would be getting a copper button and the Copper Golem. It almost seemed as if you were getting one bonus thing compared to everything else. But that's not the only reason I picked this mob over the other two selections. The Copper Golem had this odd sort of nostalgia that it struck with me. You see, we only have two golems in Minecraft. The two of three buildable mobs. And to think that you could craft this one and place it down was already incredible. Yeah, sure, the glare was resourceful, but once we figured out its technical abilities, it was kinda outclassed. The glare, we really should have gotten to learn more about it, but it still seemed kind of lame compared to the Copper Golem. The golem could have been used for builds too, as whenever it fully oxidized, it stood still. This could have been used in so many incredible creations, and sadly, I don't think we're ever going to see that. Well, although we have gotten confirmation that not all mob vote mobs are discarded, they're just put back on the idea shelf. Oh, the wild update itself. I'm not going to talk too much about it as you've already seen a lot about it online through videos and streams, but I personally have some thoughts about this update, albeit a tad harsh at times. This is the third update we've had the Deep Dark and the Warden in the Skulk family all be pushed back. First, we were promised them in 1.17, pushed to 1.18, and now pushed to 1.19. You'd think it's a little odd, but honestly, King B Dogs has given us more than enough evidence for this actually being an incredible mechanic that is going to be worth 3 updates of waiting. The actual update introduces some new mechanics that I think could be useful, but a lot of it just adds a bit more decent enough world building. It feels somewhat incomplete. Once the initial rush of frogs and the funny 2-pixel mob that has been added wears off, it's just kind of an underwhelming, incomplete update. And I've had this feeling for a while now. First it was with 1.16 being a really nice update, feeling good, whole, and complete, and bringing everything it could for the Nether. There was no other room to fill. 1.17 had the critical flaw of seemingly promising more than it was actually giving. They alluded to more cave biomes when, no, we're just getting those same ones. And once 1.17 was split, we just kinda learned that we were going to get maybe one of those. And the height limit and everything else was pushed on to 1.18. Now luckily, we were promised a solid release date of about a month or so until 1.18 comes out, and it's been certainly a lot more than just a few days since Minecon came out, so we're looking at a pretty close release date. However, my biggest issue with the newer updates we're getting is that they aren't that whole. 1.16 had everything laid out for you. They didn't oversell anything, and they didn't undersell anything either. You could say that they did oversell certain aspects with Netherite's mechanics, but it was all there, and it knew what it was doing. I'll give 1.18 some slack since it's a very big game-changing update, but 1.19 just kind of feels like Caves and Cliffs Part 3 with how it's not really adding much wild, and just a few more decent enough terrain details that'll look prettier with the new landscape. But hey, with all the negatives out of the way, let's get into the positives. This is definitely an amazing time for Minecraft's social media memes, as much as I hate saying that word out loud, as Jeb screaming into the void is one of the funniest things that my brain has absorbed over the past few weeks. And Jeb also sitting in a boat with a chest, of course. But let's get to the actual positive content of the game. I personally think that boats with chests are going to be a great addition to the game. I use boats a lot on my survival world, and speaking of which, there's plenty more to come on that soon. I do find that is a very genuinely useful asset. The mangrove trees are also a really good asset as well. They're a new tree type, and while they do look a bit more like a acacia and jungle combination, they're a unique new wood nonetheless, as we're going to get our own new unique trapdoor and door with them. I'm very excited to see how these new trees work. After the Nether update brought the brand new wood with the warped vines and stems, I was really excited to see what kind of new logs that we would get to the game. Unfortunately, the azalea trees just use oak, like a lot of other things. So it's very nice to see a very new, unique kind of wood added to Minecraft. Now, the main course. Me and my friends both during Minecon were very, very hyped for this moment. Once we got to hear more about the Deep Dark after hearing that it was getting pushed for another update, this definitely subverted our expectations. I still have one minor little question that I would be okay with if it were or weren't answered. What's gonna happen to the Warden cabin from the 1.17 teaser? Like, that small little structure was something I genuinely liked. I love aesthetic small structures like that in Minecraft, which is one of the many reasons I play Bedrock over Java. The fallen over trees with the mushrooms around them, it's details like that that I'm certainly enjoying. Another reason for me to be hyped for the Wild Update's improved birch forests that we've seen in some of its concept art. But enough about world generation and nature and stuff. That's boring. Let's get into the weird monsters. The Deep Dark offers the Skulk Shrieker, Catalyst, and Sensor. Bulk blocks that, while we somehow predicted that they would sort of work like this, are certainly not what we expected. I've seen people speculate about the Skulk Catalyst spreading the Skulk from some extent since 1.17's announce. So, the Shrieker, however, didn't get the same sort of treatment. We did see leaked textures for it in some Bedrock Beta's files, but we never got a proper explanation about this block until, we saw the official release of it. Or at least a release of a preview of it. You get the point. And I definitely do like the new spawning of the Warden. Rather than stumbling upon it, you have to be careful, and instead of running away from it, you can flat out avoid it entirely, as long as you aren't an idiot. Don't trip over Skulk sensors and bind the Shriekers, and you should be good. However, if you get a little too soaked in by the crazy environment of the Skulk cities, you might just trip over something that you don't want to trip over. The Warden's new spawning animation is definitely an improvement from it just sort of wobbling on screen from last year, as it rather prying its way out of the ground as if the Skulk has corroded it over time and imprisoned it in the ground is a much better detail than it sadly wobbling over to you and smacking you twice. So I do love this more improved Warden, with the better sounds where you can like hear the sniffing and all the other noises as the Warden is searching for you. It adds such an element of excitement to the game. I definitely think that 1.19 is going to get us a lot of new stuff. And while I've heard some people say that this update's gonna get, delayed again, or split, I don't think that's the case. Caves and Cliffs was a unique update compared to the others. It was only split because it couldn't carry all that it was promising. There were a lot of changes to the game itself that it had to carry with it. So, a new tree type or two and a few mobs, and some features that have already been worked on for 2 years shouldn't be that bad. So I think that Minecraft updates are starting to take a trend upwards, but next time we're gonna have to talk about a few other issues that I'm having with updates. Well, I certainly hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed talking about my experience of Minecon this year, as it was my first actual attending of one of these live events. I certainly hope that you guys enjoy my content that I have planned to come.